How are you? Welcome to Social Science class. I'm Rekanjali. Today I will teach you Political Science Unit 2, Indian Foreign Policy. So India is a vast country, you know that. India is peace-loving country and India has got a very good foreign policy. Means with the neighbor and all the countries, India is having cordial relationship, no enmity. You know, often yesterday also from America, Trump had come, and then our Prime Minister cordially he has agreed to for the election, forthcoming election in America to support. Indians are there, no, they also should vote. Trump's is it not? So canvassing. So like this, India, you know, she doesn't hate any countries and all. Instead, she will help. India has got plenty of arms and weapons and very fine, systematic army and all. But she will not no fight with any country. She will not wage war with any country. She is a totally peace-loving country. That is her policy. So this is called Indian foreign policy. Here the picture we are showing that in the globe, all the countries India will treat, whether it is small or bigger, medium, or whether poor country, developed or underdeveloped or advanced country, India will be friendly with all the countries. No any discrimination. Now, today you will learn the Indian foreign policy under these headings. Nature of Indian foreign policy, Panchashila principles, non-aligned movement, disarmament, and anti-apartheid policy. Now, firstly, I will take one that is, Indian foreign policy. It's an important point to note that India had its own foreign policy before independence and after independence also. The first Prime Minister of India was Jawaharlal Nehru. Now, Jawaharlal Nehru acted like Prime Minister of India also. First independent Prime Minister of India. Not only that, even he acted as the Indian Foreign Minister also. Now, next one. See here, now the major as of Indian foreign policy are national security, enriching national economy, spreading of culture richness of our country in other countries by increasing the number friendly countries and check the power of enemy countries, achieving world peace and coexistence. Now here one thing I want to tell you, just like an individual who cannot live alone, countries also cannot live in isolation. Out of 200 countries in the world, very few countries are strong and most of them are weak. Every sovereign country has its own foreign policy, like India also has got its own foreign policy. And India is a popular country with its huge population, natural resources, military, intellectual, and industrialized capacities. India is one of the few countries in the world who pursue their own foreign policy. Now, next one here. Under this heading, I have already mentioned India became a republic in 1947. As an independent country, India wants peaceful coexistence with other countries of the world. The major aims of Indian foreign policy, I have mentioned already that the national security, enriching national economy, spreading of cultural richness of our country in other countries by increasing the number friendly countries and check the power of enemy countries. Lastly, achieving the world peace and coexistence. Now, one more thing I would like to tell you. On September 7th, 1946, Jawaharlal Nehru has given speech in radio. Those days only radio, no TV, no system, okay, computer, nothing. The speech given an indication of foreign relationship India is going to foster with countries like America, Russia, and China. Jawaharlal Nehru managed the foreign policies of India as an external affairs minister, apart from being the prime minister as well. So, next, foreign policy today, so far called by Nehru, various international and national issues have influenced the foreign policy of India. Issues like national interest, geographical interest, political situation, economic interest, military issues, public opinion, international situation, and many other issues have influenced and shaped India's foreign policy. Now, next, India, basic aspects of India foreign policy is the Panchashila principles. The following are the five principles called as Panchashila principles. In the examination, they'll ask you, what is the principles, the features of Panchashila. 3 marks question, definitely it will be there, children. The following are the five principles called as Pancha. Pancha means five principles. Panchashila principles. Number one, respecting each other's sovereignty and regional interests. Every country should respect each other irrespective of size. Some countries are very small, some countries are medium or very big. Some countries are underdeveloped, below the line of poverty. Some countries are developing, some countries are highly developed. Whatever it is condition, but respecting each other's sovereignty and regional interest. Next one, non-interference in each other's internal issues. Countries know they have got various problems. In our family, every family has got problems, no? Quarrel and misunderstanding and issues, many issues are there. Like that, even countries also have got. Each countries have got its own problem inside. So the other neighbor countries or other countries should not interfere in the affairs of any countries. The third, mutual cooperation and respect. Each country, if they are willing, they can cooperate with other countries, establish a good relationship and respect the other country. Next one, peaceful coexistence. Means every country should live in a peacefully. These are all the, five Panchashila. Non-invention of each other. One more thing I want to tell you. Non-invasion. Countries should not invade or attack other countries. Now, what is going on, children, with Pakistan and India? Now, China also is started, no? Both have become partners, left and right. That is Pakistan and China. That is very bad. In Panchashila, what they say, non-invention of each other. Countries should not think of attacking the other countries. You know, let all the countries live peacefully. Now, the second major point is non-aligned movement. The world was divided into two power blocks after end of the Second World War. One block is democratic countries under the hegemony, means leadership of USA, and the other communist countries which was led by USSR, United Soviet Socialist Russia. And that time India followed the policy of being non-aligned to either of these blocs. USA one side, USSR other side. They started attracting the countries to join their blocks. So that time India made one good plan, not joining any country, I mean bloc. There is a USA bloc or USSR bloc. They will lead independent life, and then they they are ready to maintain their peace and independence, independent policy. Now, like this, no, uh, Nehru, the prime minister, during that day. After that, Lal Bahadur Shastri. Afterwards, Indira Gandhi. They all followed the non-aligned movement. That is, they will not join any bloc. You know, Already we were under British rule for 200 years. Again, we don't want to listen to the either USA or USSR. Later, our Prime Minister, late Atal Bihari Vajpayee, tried to reform our foreign policy and strive to have better relationship with Pakistan. You know that Pakistan is you know, our utmost good friend. You know that what type of friend? No, that one. And like this, we followed. Nehru is a champion of non-alignment movement. They will ask in one more question. I mean, who formed this non-alignment? Who is the founder of non-alignment movement? That is Nehru. Follow? Now, anti-imperialism. Next point, I'll move, children. That is imperialism means a country in the name of trade or in the name of helping or friendship, they will go and then nicely, slowly, gradually, they will start ruling. That is called imperialism. Like that, only British also came to India for trade. Later, what happened? They started ruling our country. That is called imperialism. So today, we, the country, are following that anti means against imperialism. No country should intervene in any other country in the pretext of trade and all. So it was natural for India, which gained its independence from an imperial country, to oppose such moves to the other country. No corner of the world shall have imperialism, declared India in the Conference of Asian Countries, held in the New Delhi and Bandung. Next one, you know, no anti-apartheid policy. There will be two more question. What is apartheid policy? Very important question, children. Apartheid is an attempt by a race or people of a particular skin color to subjugate another race of people of different skin color in the name of supremacy. In the world, European, they're all fair color, white color or reddish color. At the same time, in Africa, you see all jet dark color. So this fair color, the European group people, countries, they'll think that you know the African people, because they are dark, they are inferior. The dark colored people are inferior, the white colored people are superior. The wrong notion, is it not? Whatever color counts here, but it is there in the world, children. Because of this color only, they say inferior and superior. Very wrong notion. So that is called apartheid, racial problem. Apartheid is an affront to human rights. All human beings are equal in the world, irrespective of their color or language or height, weight or education, whatever it is. All are human beings. All are have got right to live. You know, according to their whims and fancy. And see, apartheid is an affront to human rights and world peace. It is a great disturbance to the world peace. The foreign policy of India declared that no country of the world shall practice this apartheid. Till recently, the minority white people were ruling the majority black people in South Africa. Africa, even today, some countries are under the European control. Why no? Because the white people, Europeans, think that they are fair and then they can rule the black people. That white people, only few, they went and no, they are living in the some countries of Africa and they started ruling the majority of the black people. That's why it is called the white minority is ruling majority. India had declared its support to the Nelson Mandela. He was an African leader who did against to this apartheid. He started anti-apartheid policy, and his party, African National Congress, who were opposing apartheid in that country. So understood what is apartheid policy. They will ask you definitely two more questions, children. So this is very important. Now next one, I'll proceed to the disarmament, the process of elimination of specific arms step by step is called disarmament. You know, there is an increased competition for the production, sale, and collection of arms in the world. Children, last this month, beginning or last month, India imported that flight. That is a war flight from France. Many rifles. It came to India. They showed in TV. You can remember, children, recall it. And this is all the why we are doing, because we are now afraid of the Pakistan and China. China is ready anytime it may wage war. Already after Panchashila, first country, China only agreed and signed with that time the Prime Minister of Jawaharlal Nehru and China's Prime Minister or leader Chou Enlai both signed. But next month only China declared war on India. What is Panchashila principle? You know that. He read and agreed and signed, but no broke that no the policy. So we can't trust anyone. You know, there is a saying, दुश्मन कहाँ है दुश्मन बगल में है, like that. India's enemy, both the sides are there, Pakistan and China. That's why now from France many war flights we imported. So many of the countries are worried that this massive scale of arms could lead the third world war. The whole world witnessed two wars, first world war and second world war. The whole world, they want to prevent third war. There should not be any third world war. But so seeing that pile up of all the arms and ammunition, the world is afraid that there may be a third world war also. Countries with massive arms may attack another country internationally, or by mistake or by accident, triggering massive devastation. Presence of the nuclear arms makes the issue more complicated in India, being peace-loving country. Advocates for the reduction of arms qualitatively as well as quantitatively. India is propagating all the countries to reduce the arms and weapons. Since the time of Nehru, India has supported disarmament process. Disarmament means what? Not, piling up arms, weapons, war weapons. Okay. Now, if we have more, any country is piling up, let us reduce it. Though it is impossible and impracticable to attain the total disarmament, as every country needs arms for its protection. Look at, children, I'll tell you, I'll mention to you now. India is having no very drastic and dangerous weapons. India has got plenty of industries to manufacture weapons, arms, and all. India is also standing very standard, you know, arms and weapons. Why? India will never attack any country. It will not have intention of attacking or waging war with other country. But if any country attacks India, India should protect itself. So she is having all dangerous, powerful arms and ammunition. An attempt can be made reduce the number of arms. The Constitution of India, Article 51, advocates for a foreign policy that aims at establishing international peace and cooperation. Now, India always considers our national interest and public opinion. India foreign policy aims at strengthening UNO. India always supports UNO policy, whatever policy UNO, introduces or proposes, then India is the first country to support. India strives to have strong foreign relationship with other countries, neighboring countries of the world through SAARC and Commonwealth of Nations as well. Moreover, India has been one of the members of UNO. Now, by this, I will conclude my that political science, the second chapter, the India relationship with other countries. Okay. Now, I hope that you all understood. Now, I'll ask you a few questions, children. What is meant by India's foreign policy? Second, what is the basic principles of India foreign policy? What is the main pillar of India's foreign policy? What is the main objective of foreign policy? What are the Panchashila principles? Who signed Panchashila principles first? Later, what happened? By this, I'll wind up. I hope all of you understood. Thank you.